The title of this lecture is The Relationship Between Logic and Philosophy. Usually, philosophy is a discipline that requires a foundation in humanity. Most of the students who study philosophy are students who don't normally have background in science, background in quantification, background in mathematics. However, at a point in time in the course of studying philosophy, they come in contact to all these areas. Philosophy as an enterprise simply ask fundamental questions about reality and look for fundamental answers to these questions. The philosophers observe reality and then raise fundamental questions. It's not just raising these questions. The philosopher always move forward to seek for fundamental answers. And as such, they usually articulate the outcome of the answers to these questions in form of argument, in form of claims. In as much as we have different philosophers, we also have claims and counterclaims. Note that the first philosopher ever in Western world, which is Thales, argued that ultimate reality or the foundation of everything is water. But it was countered by his own disciple, who put forward the notion of apeiron. So the question therefore is, how can philosophers advance their claim in such a way that it will be accepted, or in such a way that it will make sense? This is where logic comes in. Claims are normally put forward in form of arguments, and then arguments have what we call premises and conclusion. The conclusion is used normally the claim, and the premises are what are used to support the claim. It is through the study of logic that one can learn how to articulate premises and make premises to follow each other and then arrive at what is regarded as conclusion. It therefore means that logic is very important to the philosopher, because it is only through the study of logic that he will know how to advance his claim in an appropriate manner. So for this study, let us look at what logic is. To some scholars, logic can simply be defined as the study of correct and incorrect reasoning. To some other scholars, logic can be regarded as what makes us to understand or distinguish between good and bad reasoning. To some other scholars, they simply advance the notion that logic is the science of reasoning. And yet to others, logic is the study of the methods and principles employed to differentiate between good reasoning and bad reasoning. Yes, all these notions, all these articulations, definitions, they are appropriate definitions of logic. What is really consistent here is that logic helps us to reason properly. Logic makes it easy for us to quickly know the distinction between good reasoning and bad reasoning. That is the basic thing that is very clear here. So, let us now look at the various importance of logic against the backdrop of our discussion. We have several of them. One it helps us to reason systematically. Two, we can say that it helps us to separate good reasoning process from bad ones. Another one is that it helps us to understand fallacies in thinking and how to avoid them. Logic helps us to know how to test the correctness of different types of reasoning process. Logic helps us to distinguish belief from systematic reasoning. Take note of these particular um, characteristics or importance. Make us to distinguish between belief and systematic reasoning. Religious belief systems do not require any room for argument. You simply accept it, and that's why they are regarded as belief. But systematic reasoning requires that you put forward reason why your claim should be accepted. So, while belief does not give room for logic, philosophy, which advances claim, create room for systematic reasoning. So, there's no room for logic in belief. As such, there's need for us to be able to distinguish between mere beliefs and claims that are advanced with proper premises. Logic also helps in guiding other disciplines in their reasoning process. So logic is not just meant for philosophy alone. It also cuts across different other disciplines so long as the requirement of reasoning is critical to that discipline. Logic helps in sharpening our mind and train us on how to be alert in our thinking. Usually when we put forward claims, we commit so much fallacies, which are error in thinking. It is the study of logic that will guide us on how to avoid all these fallacies. And finally, or generally, logic helps us in appraising arguments. So when we see other people's arguments, our knowledge of logic will guide us properly on how to really appraise those arguments as whether they are proper or they are improper. So with all these characteristics or importance of logic, there's no doubt that logic is critical to the study of philosophy. A trained philosopher should also be trained in the area of logic. Thank you for listening to this lecture.
For more insight into symbolic logic, like, subscribe and share.